Long ball number one here on Morning Kickaround. It is Friday, June 6th, and we could call this one day post the scintillating Spain versus France UEFA Nations League semifinal. An exciting affair. We kind of debated on if it was a good game, but no question it was an exciting game. And the UEFA Nations League really seems to work. It definitely seems like the whole Nations League concept was made for UEFA. Teams moving up and down, playing teams that are more in their sphere, like the smaller teams like San Marino get to play against other small ones, and then bigger teams get to move up, and then you get matchups like this. Earlier in the week, it was Germany and Portugal with Ronaldo scoring the winner, but yesterday 5-4, the European champions Spain over France, and there was almost too many beautiful goals to recall all at once. Does it work quite that way in CONCACAF?
Well, I mean, you're comparing apples and oranges, Rob. I'm not sure why you would want to do that. Apples are good, oranges are also good. I mean,
okay, reframe it. It works
no.
over there. Clearly, it does a good thing. It churns through the pro rel. Championship games.
Let me respond to what you just said. Okay, you set it up. Let me respond to what you just said. There are tiers. We do have League A, League B. We have that here in CONCACAF, right? It's just what we don't have is the depth of soccer playing nations that UEFA has. That's clearly the obvious reason why it works over there in a way it doesn't work here, because what do we end up getting at the end? Now, obviously, the United States fell flat on their face in this last edition of the Nations League. It was terrible. It was not what we wanted. We had seen them win this thing. They had been the only nation to win the CONCACAF Nations League prior to this edition. And so I guess there's always a possibility of it going badly and it being a little surprising. But you're going to get Mexico in the United States in the semifinals. Every single time, you're going to get them in the Final Four. There's no other way. And again, this is another sort of because CONCACAF is locked in to what it is in terms of geography, there will always be a problem. You have to wonder, right? This is why college football realignment is so fascinating, because there are lots of schools that are like, you know what? If we don't move up to a better league, even though we might not win as many games, even though our record will suffer, if we don't move up to a better league, we'll never have an opportunity to play for a championship. We'll never have an opportunity to really reach the heights of our sport. So what are we getting? Well, we were in the MAC. We were in Conference USA. Let's go to the Big Ten. Let's go to the SEC if we can. Let's go to a massive conference, a Big Five power conference, because that will get us that opportunity to test ourselves, grow, get better. The United States, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, Canada, those are the top nations in CONCACAF, right? And let's throw some thoughts out for Jamaica maybe, and occasionally some of these smaller countries pop up. Honduras does something. But they will always suffer from the fact that they cannot be tested regularly against the top playing nations. And because this is why the idea, Rob, of a Western Hemisphere giant confederation exists. Let's just put CONCACAF and CONMEBOL together, and that will help everybody, but obviously mostly the CONCACAF nations like Mexico and the United States.
I would love to see what the acronym of CONCACAF and the South American Conference, how many, that's about 18 letters long there. But you feel like if Nations League on this side of the planet would succeed and become a little bit more intriguing and enthralling, you'd say you'd have to add more teams and make those tiers kind of more defined. I mean, would CONCACAF be kind of like subjective? If they were in a master group, so CONCACAF, and I don't know why I'm shorting out on the South American Confederation. CONMEBOL. If they join together, would it just end up being, or at least maybe at the beginning, where it would just be South American teams slide up in the A division, and it would just be CONCACAF in the B division?
Well, I don't know. It depends. I guess it depends on how you set it up in the beginning. Like, are you just going to assign leags, or do you have to have?
They would randomize it, right? Because it would be kind of awkward to.
You probably do it by FIFA rankings, which is imperfect, but it's at least some guide. So yeah, Brazil, Argentina, those nations would definitely be in League A. But I think Mexico, Canada, Mexico and the United States rather would be in League A as well if you were doing it that way. But the issue for why that isn't a thing is, first of all, CONCACAF doesn't want to give up their fiefdom. CONMEBOL doesn't want to give up theirs, even though they'll work together on things like a Copa America happening in the United States, because, again, that's CONMEBOL basically coming in and hitting the cash register button on American soccer fans. But the issue you really have is that CONMEBOL, despite its small size, plays that insane gauntlet of World Cup qualifying. So all their dates are taken up by World Cup qualifiers, whereas because of the way UEFA does their qualifying with groups and limited games and things like that, they have the dates to do the Nations League like they're doing now. That is, and obviously CONCACAF is sort of similar in that way. We get down to an end with qualifying, and you got to play some games, but it's not so packed in that you can't do these Nation League games as well. I don't. The Nations League was entertaining yesterday. Yeah. I think it's a good idea, generally speaking, for world football. I'm not sure I'm there. And again, there are concerns. And again, whether competition-wise it makes sense, and because UEFA has locked themselves out of playing against Western Hemisphere nations because they're always doing Nations League stuff or whatever, it makes some sense. But as Bernardo says, travel would be insane. The United States is playing Argentina in a Nations League game. I mean,
Canada and Chile, something like that. That's the madness.
16-hour trips, and who knows if that's even feasible within the windows you've got.
I do feel that there was a little bit of freedom to that semifinal, both semifinals that we saw, because if this was like a European final or a World Cup final, I think those teams play that a little tighter. And while obviously these players are crazy competitive and they want to win there, I feel like there's a little bit less pressure in a Nations League scenario than a competition that's a little bit more historic. And I want to kind of wrap this up. So over here, we're saying for now, at least, the CONCACAF Nations League maybe doesn't serve as well as it could be. What would be, I don't know, just off the top of your dome, what could be an alternative way that you'd prefer to spend those extra international windows? Is it, return to friendlies? Is it modify Nations League? What do you think? Just curiosity.
I haven't had I didn't know that was coming. Haven't had a thought about that. I mean, again, you're at the mercy of who's available to play. Friendlies don't make any sense if there's no good teams to play. Mm-hmm. Right? The only reason the United States is able to play Turkey and Switzerland as friendlies ahead of the Gold Cup this summer is because Turkey and Switzerland, as UEFA teams, don't have any other competitions going on with the Nations League finals happening in Germany. So, there may be African teams, there may be Asian teams available, and I do think that's probably the best you can do, right? CONMEBOL is always qualifying, so they're not available. And this is the other part of it, right? So Andrew is saying play more African and Asian teams. Shout out to Andrew. In Africa. Now, the issue there is that just like most federations, it's a money-making prospect as much as it is test our team. And yeah, man, sending the U.S. men's national team to Africa, that would be interesting. And I think that from a competitive standpoint, that's probably a good idea. But it's really hard to imagine U.S. soccer saying, here, we only have so many dates, and we're going to send our team to Egypt, or we're going to send our team to Morocco. We're going to send our team to Ghana. And again, does Ghana want those games against the United States? Is that enough of a draw for them, or do they have other things they'd rather fill their dates with?